You need a great opener, like somehow we're adults. Do.
We can record that right
some
now.
Some kind of like.
We can record that right now.
Everybody, be quiet.
Somehow we're adults.
All right, let's see. Where do I begin?
So, where do you begin? So, how you been, man?
I've been different. I would say a lot different. A lot more growth.
So, can we start by talking about how you've been listening to David Goggins, or you'd read his book, right?
Yeah, I read his book, but the thing is, like, even in the military, I would often I would see like clips of him and stuff, and I'm I know everybody does.
Every dude.
But,
stay hard.
But then I never like paid attention to it as much because in the military, you had a lot of go-getters there. And then when I'd be doing like the 3-mile runs for the PFT, it'd always be the officers. All the officers are like super fit. I mean, all they have to do is just work out. But like when I'm what's it called? I had a full bird. We were running a 3-mile. This dude's like 50 something.
What's a full bird?
It's I would say a colonel. Yeah.
Like a higher ranking individual?
Oh yeah, this is an officer. Okay. So you have like a captain, then the next rank, this guy was a full bird, which was, you better put some respect on his name, right? This guy was running, and he surprised us. He was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go run a PFT with you guys," just out of the blue, and we're all like, "You better outrun him." And I'm like, I used to be fast, but I wasn't that fast. So we were running, and he would always be like on my tail, but then once we hit like this hill, he beat me. But he didn't beat me by a lot. He beat me by like 20 seconds, which is still a lot, like distance coverage wise.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but that dude was fast. But
how old is this guy? You said
like 50 something.
50 something.
Oh
wow.
yeah.
Wow. So the guy running, that go full David Goggins style in your mind then?
At first, I started listening more about David Goggins when did that come up? I'm trying to remember when it happened. I think it was either you mentioned it or somebody would send me a clip, and I would just sort of like, let me see what this guy's about, right? And then his motivation stuff, it was just pain. He just wanted to go through pain, and I'm like,
it's crazy.
He's fighting demons or something. And then after reading the book, I just kind of like, you know what? I want to read a book. Let me just try and read this book. So I started reading the first couple pages about his childhood and his dad beating him.
Mm-hmm. That's the book Can't Hurt Me, right? His first book. Yeah.
So then I was like, now my dad didn't have like a skating rink and stuff like that, but no, it was just like, man, I kind of remember. It was like constant work, juggling like your whole. You would be working, but then go to school, and people really wouldn't know about that. So it's kind of like hidden mental scars. Mm-hmm. And I think for the longest time, I haven't even told people, like when I was in elementary school, like in Cork, people didn't know I was a roofer, like during the summer and stuff. I just didn't think it was something I could brag about. Mm-hmm. And then it was also kind of like, it was Cork Elementary, predominantly a white school. Like we had like one black teacher.
Oh man, yeah, it was predominantly Hispanic and white.
Yeah, and like even the Hispanic kids would be like, everything was all status about what you wore and stuff. Maybe not much in elementary school.
Yeah,
but it was more in middle school.
That's just school in general.
Yeah, but then what's it called? I started embracing like the roofer thing. Like, I guess during high school, I'll be like, I'm working, whatever, and like. I kind of see like how do I say it? The Mexicans or the Hispanics now who wouldn't really brag about like now they're wearing like the boots and stuff like that. But I'm like, you weren't doing that in high school or anything. And it is what it is.
So for me, I read David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me. And that was right when I was like in the midst of like losing weight and shit like that. So it definitely helped me with that. There's there's certain concepts in that book that are really cool. Like I like if you're somebody who's like starting from like I hate my life, that's a great place to start because Like, I wasn't in that same spot where I hated my life, but I was, like, on that journey, you know what I mean, of, like, self-improvement and shit. And it was kind of cool to see his perspective. Like nowadays, he's worth millions and millions of dollars from how many books he sold. Oh. And he's still out there destroying his knees, running. And he does, I think it's called, like, fire jumping or something like that.
Yeah, he does that voluntarily.
Yeah, that job pays, like, $30,000 a year. It pays, like, nothing. And it's a very dangerous, but he loves crazy job, yeah.
And that's the thing, is like, after reading David Goggins, after a while, he does put a lot of things about like social media and stuff, which is a really big impact for somebody's growth nowadays, because everybody kind of wants to be seen and stuff, but he's more like, just do the work. Eventually you're going to be like seen from your efforts, and like anybody can say like, oh, I'm doing this, oh, I'm doing this. Actually do it. Yeah. Like, show results. People want to see results.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there that their main focus is being popular on social media, and their second focus is their life.
Oh yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of on the verge of that before. Like, I was like focusing more like for the likes and views. I'm not gonna lie about that.
It's hard not to.
Yeah, it felt like you felt accepted and stuff, but then at the same time, like when I'd come home to an empty house, I was like, yeah, what good is that anyways? Right. So, like, seeing that, reading through the book, I haven't finished it yet. I'm like a few pages until I'm done, but like, it showed me like now on my runs, like I used to, and I know some people still do this, like the whole like running thing. I know they run, stop the time, and then take a break and then run again.
No, I never did that.
I know some people do that, because I used to do that. So I was like, oh, like I want my mile to be faster and like post it and stuff like that. But then now it's like, I'm gonna walk.
Oh no,
I'm just gonna walk.
Yeah, if I ever do, there is times where I have done runs where like I stop, but I don't stop the timer. I'll keep walking too, because the app that I use is Strava, and
I just got that.
I love that. That's the best running app. But like, if you stop walking or stop moving, it'll stop automatically on Strava.
I didn't know that, because I have I'm on a running journey now. I want to say it's because of the David Goggins thing, because it's like you reach a point of where like you're literally running not to prove anybody. Like, you're not proving anything to anybody. You're just proving it to yourself. So I'd be on my running journey, and when I was like stopping the time, I'm like, I'm still slow at the time, but then now it was like, I think I was running around the park near my house. And I was just like, why am I trying to sprint? Like, I'm a walk. Like, this is at my own pace. Like, ain't nobody here running with me. Like, I'm just going to keep moving. And next thing you know, I was running for an hour straight. And I was like, God dang, I didn't know I was running for an hour. There were 2 times where I ran for an hour straight. It was like 5 miles and something. And that was me, like, actually running. The other times it was like 2 miles was like 45 minutes. They're like, what were you doing for 45 minutes? I'm like, I was walking.
Just chilling, bro.
Yeah, that was
just movement, dude. I mean, to be fair, though, your job of, like, doing roofing is pretty fucking intense of a manual labor job. You know what I mean? It's not like you're getting there and you're fully charged. It's not like people who work a desk job who, like, get off their desk job and they're like, oh, I can go, crush it at the gym. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but, like, for the longest time, I've been doing roofing for so long that, like, I felt like it was just routine for me. Right. So even if I was working in the summer heat and my body's just completely drained, I'm talking about like body cramps all over, the moment I get home, I'm like, I want to go to the gym, because I thought I felt really recharged. But it really sucks when you're trying to, like, I guess, plan out your workouts and seeing like, oh, I'm gonna try to hit this like weight the next time, but it never comes because your body's fatigued.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, I'm just weak. I got to eat more. I never really paid attention to the whole rest part.
Yeah, the recovery. Yeah, it's not that you're overtrained. It's that you're under-recovered. I saw a video that said that today.
Oh, for sure. Man.
Yeah, especially with the lack of sleep, too, because you don't sleep much either, do you?
No, I'm averaging like 4 hours of sleep.
Fuck, man. I could never.
5 is the most, but it's like, I wouldn't say it's a very healthy thing. It's not.
Most doctors would agree. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because like it's kind of like, for instance, I'll wake up at like 5 a.m. panicking, not like panicking, like it's like when you wake up and your alarm and you think you're late, and you know, you had that small panic, like, oh shoot, I gotta
get the fuck up.
Yeah. So I would get that all the time, and I'm like, what? Why am I rushing to get dressed now? And it was like, okay, something's bad now. It doesn't help that for roofing parts, for a roofing job, for instance, me and my brother drive. I think the last time we weren't working with my dad anymore, but now we kind of paired back up. And that's kind of more of a, I guess, you know, we kind of buried the hatchet. We got back together with it. And then now I feel like it's been a dramatic improvement with the whole, like, journeys I've been through. But at the same time, it's like, okay, I got to drive. And it sucks sometimes, especially when you come home at, like, midnight or, like, 11:30 p.m. because I go to school at Kaiser. By the time I get home, it's, like, 11:10, 11:20, but I haven't eaten since noon. And I know it's bad to eat right before you go to sleep. It's like, I haven't eaten. I'm hungry. So,
I'm notorious about doing the same thing. Not to the same level you do it, but eating right before I go to bed. Because as soon as I get home from jiu-jitsu, I'm like, if I eat before I go to jiu-jitsu, I'm just going to fucking throw up. Or I'm going to feel sick the entire time. And then when I get home, so I go on an empty stomach, and then when I get home, I'm like, fuck, I just burned, 1,000 calories. I need to smash a shit ton of food right now. And then I go to bed sick,
Yeah.
It's not good.
It doesn't help. Like, I'm not saying I have the most supportive, I wouldn't say I have the most supportive dad. It's more of like, because he's like...
different priorities.
Yeah. So his thing is more like, oh, it's on me. Like, it's always going to be like that. It's never going to change. And I've kind of accepted it. So now it's like, for instance, Monday and Tuesday I go to school. So I'm up at 5 a.m. Come home at like 5 a.m. By the time it's like noon now, I kind of leave.
How long does it take you to get to a job site?
It depends. Sometimes an hour. Sometimes 2 hours, depending on...
Do you normally get there when it's still dark?
Now with the time change, it's bright, but it used to be still dark. And like, what's it called? I'll leave a little bit early, so sometimes I'll take like my own personal vehicle, like my car or my truck, and then drive home. But the moment I drive home, I have to immediately change to go to school. And then it's like you're on go mode all the time. And I mean, there's sometimes I'll get like a 30-minute break. So what do I do with that 30 minutes? I'm trying to catch up on sleep. So sometimes I'll nap, but sometimes it's like, I got to go walk my dog. There's some chores I have to do around the house because, hey, your household is a job itself. You got to take care of that stuff too. So,
so you are time poor. You are very like low on time.
Oh yeah. And
so what do you think you could do to like help yourself with that? Is it work less? Is it do less, or do you feel like you have to maintain the pace that you're at to be happy?
I think now I'm maintaining the pace, but I think I have to work just a little bit more for maybe like 1 or 2 months. Like as soon as I get that roofing license, I'm good. Like I can stay at home making calls, marketing myself, or not myself, but the business. But while I'm doing that, I can also market the dumpster business. And since I'll be in like a little home office and stuff, I'll pour myself a drink and probably like work on that stuff. And yes, it's a lot. I know it's a lot, but at the same time, it's like, I know it's doable, but I do have to reach out for help and stuff. So, at the moment right now, I think I'm at a good pace, but I do need to get that roofing license. And the only way I can do it is on my Sundays. So it's my only day off.
What are you going to school for?
Business.
And
I've learned a lot. So they give you like different perspectives, and like I have a teacher that taught me marketing. So it was more like, like a lot of people, for instance, in Plant City. And I'm only saying it because it's Plant City. There is a lot of competition with certain industries like concrete. There's barbers. There is freaking landscaping. I've seen some roofing as well. There's really just small things. But I feel like it'd be very beneficial because I know they're in the same boat I am. If they were to just like, I wouldn't say like merge businesses, but kind of just like get together with people that are in the same interest as you, they can go a long way. And eventually they'll be like, because when you're doing like, when you have a business and you want to reach out more, you have to market. And then when you market yourself or market your business, you have to make sales. So that's a salesman right there. So you have to find out quotes and prices from all around your area, not just in your area, out of your area, in case you have to go drive far. And then you have to do the pricing. So it's kind of like your own accountant. How much is this job? How far do you have to drive? Are you including your transportation fee, your time? And that's just 3 jobs right there. And then it's like you got to be your own boss. It takes time. So like somebody really needs to like, as much as you want to like do everything, like as much as I want to be on a roof.
You have to delegate.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So there comes a point where I know there's going to be a point where I'm no longer going to be on a roof. Like I'm going to have to be in an office because you can't do everything.
Right.
But as of now, I'm on a good pace.
How do you feel when you go work out now? Because you said that your job has almost gotten like you're just kind of used to it and it's kind of regular for you. So how does it feel when you go work out? Because you're often there very late and you're also trying to lift super, super heavy. Has it changed how you want to work out?
I wouldn't say yes and no. Right now I'm kind of eating a little bit cleaner now. So just like, I think it's rice and ground turkey. Like that's my meals Monday through Friday. I mean, the first few days it tastes great, but then the rice gets stale and
turkey gets dry.
The turkey gets
100%. I'm speaking from I had turkey for dinner today. It was you have to just make it as as pleasable. Yeah, a lot of hot sauce.
Yeah,
a lot of hot sauce.
Hot sauce. I used tapatio on mine.
Yeah, I was the Valentina.
You always do, man. That's never gonna change.
Extra spicy Valentina, and no, I get that. That's definitely something I work on too.
Yeah, and it's hard, but I know once I get this roofing license, I should have like some type of break.
It's not a loud ass plane, dude.
That's a plane? Goddamn.
Sounds like it, right? Or a helicopter. Oh, it's a helicopter. Oh. Sorry, everybody listening, if you could hear that in the background. Me and Juan I couldn't hear him right there for a second.
Yeah, but it's like now it's I think now it's like at a good point because communication is a big part. And the family I came from, I wouldn't say they were very good at communicating. Like
said every kid in their childhood trauma ever.
Yeah, like for instance, my dad and his family, and even my mom and her family, whenever for instance, somebody got mad at each other, instead of talking things out, they would hold grudges and just not speak to each other.
And just act like it never happened?
Exactly. But, and then they would go like months, weeks.
Sorry, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the ironic nature of my relationship with my wife.
Yeah. And it's like that. And they would like not talk to each other. And I think there was a time like last week, me and my dad went at it. And he was just angry, blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't speak, whatever. And I kind of realized, all right, like I have to look out for my younger siblings. So when they see that, like, oh, Dad's mad, he won't talk to me. I'm like, yeah, he's like that, but you kind of have to force that communication. So I'll tell my dad, like now, I'll be like, hey, for instance, I got mad at him last week in the morning. So and he got really mad at me. So I kind of was just like, hey, my bad. Anything I said to you in the morning, I just had a bad morning.
So you just take that. You take that L.
So yeah, I mean that's how it's gonna be though, because
different generation.
They're never gonna freaking apologize. They're not gonna bend the knee or whatever.
You're doing more harm to yourself by harboring that resentment.
Oh yeah, and it's never gonna change. So I knew that, and now I'm kind of being like, well, it's like, what is it, the bigger man, stuff like that. I'm like, you can still, in my mind, I'm like, look, you can be childish all you want. I want to get work done, so we got to communicate. And after that, work was awesome, but it's just awkward because the things we said to each other.
Is that like an ego thing though for guys? I think it's
an ego thing.
I think it's an older generation thing too, because like, I grew up in the way where it's like it's okay for me to be wrong. And it's okay for me to like be pissed off at somebody. But I also grew up, bro. We gotta silence that thing.
My fault.
No, you're good, bro.
It's business.
It's business. No. We talking about it's all them hoes hitting you up. Don't lie to me.
No, it's not.
It's Friday night.
It's the group chat.
I'm lonely. No, just kidding. But But no, it's like this whole thing of like they can't be wrong, and there's this macho like thing that comes with being a guy, and like I don't know, I grew up where it's like there's nothing good that comes about that. That's just going to give you a heart attack earlier on in life. And so like what you've said, like I've learned to do that similarly with my dad. It's just like, you know, I can never expect them to apologize even if they were in the wrong. Mm-hmm. I just got to just get over it and deal with it myself, and, you know, just be the bigger man, like you're saying.
Exactly. And, you know, that's what kind of brought me back to the whole Plant City businesses, because there's a lot of people that are first gen and second generation Mexican Americans, or just anybody in general that had like a machismo, like, or macho type of father figure, and then they started their own business, that they aren't willing to ask for help because they think like, oh, I got to figure it out. And I'm like, no, like, if you need,
every dude will die that way too. Yeah.
That's a painful way to die. Because when I was like when I'm running the freaking so the bartending business was supposed to be a hobby, but I feel like I've been getting so busy with the dumpster business because I have roofing contractors that want the trailer, so now I have to wake up early to go drop that off, and then immediately go to roofing, and then go to school, and then from school come home extremely late. Sometimes my mom's nice enough to save me a plate. And sometimes, you know, that's kind of why you would see me like post at Applebee's like super late at night. And I'm not saying I'm a regular, but when I get to Applebee's, they already like know my drink, so I just sit down and they just already give me a tequila and pineapple, and I'm like, dang. like, do you need to see the menu? I'm like, no.
Chili's, dog.
They'll be like, do you need to see the menu? I'm like, no, it's a chicken tender and fries type of night,
bro.
Something like that.
Yeah, I feel that.
But no, it's just got like really busy that I hardly even have time to do the bartending thing. And with the bartending, it started out as a hobby, and it really was like all I wanted to do was just like get people drunk. Like that's all I wanted to do, is like, here, taste this, it tastes like juice, you know, type of stuff, right?
Like kind of like when you made the drink that tasted similar to this, and next thing you know, I'm like seeing triple.
Yeah,
shit.
But it's like I hardly have time for that anymore, and it sucks now because my family knows that, like, oh, he's a bartender, he can make a drink. Like, hey, can you make us this?
So now you're doing it for free to family and friends.
Oh, yeah, for family. And the way my family is like, again, they're very prideful. Mm-hmm. So, like, they don't take consideration of, like, for instance, I had an aunt who, I literally just got there and made the drinks and stuff, or the little dispenser, because I wasn't going to be at my own freaking parents' house working. Yeah, exactly.
Individual people's drinks. Yeah.
So I remember I wanted to go say hi to one of my aunts, and she was like, "Oh, hey, make us a drink," and she just like threw cups at me, and I was like, you know, I've been great too, you know, like, fucking assholes. So like, yeah, you know, I've been good, you know. No, they just throw drinks at me, like, make us drinks. So they're kind of like that. So I'm not saying I'm around family a lot, but I just kind of choose to be busy now. Yeah, so they're like, oh, why don't you come and make drinks? I'm like, oh, I got schoolwork. Yeah. But I'm like at home sleeping or something.
Dude, I stay so busy anymore between this, the podcast, between hunting and between jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. And like now I'm finding it hard to have time to lift weights. I'm trying to get time for that, and also like reading. Yeah. I'm literally like trying to like put my phone away more. Like I've limited how much Instagram use I have too now. Like I actually have a timer set on that'll go off if I spend too much time on Instagram, so that I can try and read more. And yeah, man, it's just it's like, to do everything that I want to do, I either have to like sleep less, or like give other things up, and I just refuse to like give everything up that I want to do. So here I am, just trying to make it all happen, and, you know, doing podcasts on a Friday night, you know, and gotta be up probably at 5 a.m. tomorrow too, so it's whatever. This is what it is.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, but it's so worth it though.
Oh yeah.
The thing for me, and you know, I'll let you speak on this too, but like, I know if I died tomorrow, like, I was happy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm getting everything done that I wanted to get done, and living a life that I'm like excited about, you know?
Yeah, I wake up, even though like my job, like my life is extremely stressful, and I wake up in a panic and stuff like that.
but I love it.
I love it. For some reason, I love it. Because I know there's nobody else out there that's kind of doing the same thing I'm doing. Because, like, man, why do you put yourself in these types of situations? You know, one, I like to complain about it. But I just love it. Like, I just love it.
Bro.
It's like, for instance, like I'll have some friends that'll be like, oh, what are you doing? Like, you want to smoke? I'm like, nah, I got homework to do. They were like, nah, come on. I'm like, no, I really got homework to do. And they're like, oh. Like,
bro, not to talk shit on people, but like at the age that we are, because you're what, 26?
I'm 27.
27. Oh my God, that's so much different. But
no, I'm old.
You've been out of high school for 10 years, bro. But like I've noticed at this age too is like you can tell that like how many of your friends have jobs that they hate, and then they just spend all their time outside of work like trying to forget the job that they work.
And
you know what I mean?
I just don't get it.
Yeah. They just always, they never have anything to do after work. Like every day is a surprise on what they're doing after work. And I'm like, bro, when I planned this podcast with you, it was a month ago.
Yeah.
It was a month ago.
I'm glad you texted me today in the morning about it.
I did too.
It was weird because I'm like, man, I feel like I had something to do today.
Yeah.
My brother was like, what'd you have to do today? I'm like, I don't know. It just feels weird.
Yeah.
And then you text me, you're like, hey, we still on today? That's what it was.
Yeah. Because I bought the bottle of tequila last week.
I had to look at the messages and stuff like, yes, it was today.
Bro, you don't keep a calendar?
I have one now, but it's like, again, like, I think the whole, like, planning out just started, I think, recently. Like, when I was more serious about it. So, like, because planning stuff actually does get you ahead. Like, you're preparing yourself already for, like, the next event.
Bro.
And, like, I've actually have a journal. I wouldn't say, like, I write on it every day. Like, you know, when they say, like, when you were in high school or middle school, they're like, oh, write a journal. And you're like, shut up. But now I'm like, okay, like, I do got to sit down and kind of write what I have to do. And I also write down my workouts. So I'll write out, like, my current weight. And then I'll have, like, small goals. Like, I think right now I'm, like, 2:0.
Curl 20 pounds. That's what your goal is.
Something like that. Curl 20 pounds. No, but it's like reach 200, then 195, then 190. Like, 5 pound intervals.
Boom.
All the way down to, like, I think I want to get to 185.
Yeah.
And
bro, we need to schedule out a fucking half marathon, because I've never ran one before, and we talked about it at one point, doing a full marathon or a half marathon. I want to do a full, but I want to do a half first.
Oh yeah, I want to run I think there's a half going on. There's one in the Everglades, and when I started looking into, like, the Strava app, they'll show you like the events coming up.
I didn't know that.
And I'm not sure if it's the Strava one. I think there is in the Strava one. But you also could look on, again, with the whole running journey. I want to run a marathon next year. And when I was looking into it, I guess you have to qualify for certain marathons. Yeah. Like the Boston Marathon, right. You have to run like 3 hours and 11 minutes to
it's depending upon your age, too. Yeah.
So I was like, man, like, the more I see it, I'm like, I think about it, I'm like, it's just running. Like, that's it. But
it's how long and how much can your body withstand it.
Oh, for sure.
But do you know why it's called a marathon?
I was told because there was a guy in, like, Greek who ran from, like,
he ran 26.2 miles and he died
to deliver a message and then died.
Yeah. And so now, to make fun of him, it's called a marathon.
Like, oh, look, all of us can do it and live the next day.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's like a fucking competition. Now there's ultra marathons, just like a big middle finger up to that guy. But no, I really want to, because, like, I think a full marathon is probably one of the things on my bucket list, just to say I've done it. Like, get the little sticker, put it on my car. It's just like a fucking big dick in a locker room energy. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at, I'm better than everybody. You know what I mean?
Like, when I go running in Lakeland at Lake Hollingsworth, I see some serious runners there.
Oh, dude, yeah. Runners' physiques. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I remember one of the first times I was there, I'm like, I think I got there at like 7 a.m.
Did we ever run out there together?
No.
Oh, I used to run there a lot.
Like, I remember I would see some hardcore runners there. I'm talking about with, like, the 4-inch shorts and stuff. I'm like, why is this guy having his ass out and running? Like,
it's fucking 50 degrees out here, dude. Are you not cold?
Bro, and they all run in the cold.
With no shirts on, too?
Yeah,
bro.
I'm like, my gosh. I didn't know about nipple chafing. That's a thing. And I'm like, oh, that shit. I'm probably gonna get that when I start running. Mine are always poking out, bro. So it's like it's naturally cold in every room or something. But man, that stuff gets tough.
I don't get how people don't have goals though. Like as far as like a lot of people my age, like I have a lot of friends that are this way too, and they're still my friends. But it's like they're just like, I don't know. There's no passion, and I'm like, how do you not like I get so excited to like get off of work and go pursue my passions. You know what I mean? Like to work on a podcast that might never be something, but it gives me fulfillment. You know what I mean?
I don't say that. It's already something.
You get what I'm saying though?
Yeah.
Like it might not ever be like Joe Rogan level, but like, you know what I mean? Like I don't know, it just gives me excitement to know that I'm working towards potentially making it 1% better or 1% worse. Like it is 100%, you know, like it's like a live and die by my own sword kind of thing. Like that's machismo to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I get to control how good or bad it turns out. You know.
So I mean, you already invested heavily in this. Like you have the mics, sick ass table that you built yourself.
The table could be better. It could all be better. You know what I mean? I grew up with this mentality from my dad, where it's like, you know, I could be 99% of the way there, and he'd only talk to me about the 1% I didn't do or something. You know, so like I always have this mentality of like, oh, it could be better. I could have bought nicer headphones. Could have got a better microphone stands. You know, just better table, better lighting.
It's funny because in a way we kind of grew up similar, and like we kind of have like different answers and like viewpoints on certain things. So like my dad he's still the same way. Like if I had a podcast, he'd be like, oh, it could be better and blah blah this. My favorite thing to say now is like, well, where's yours? And he's like, oh damn. I'm like, yeah, exactly. So how are you gonna tell me what to do if you haven't even started it? So that comes down to the roofing. So one time he was like, oh, like you guys didn't charge right. I would have charged differently. And I was just like, well, where are your jobs at? Oh, you didn't get one. But I did. Like, I'm out here trying. Like,
I don't know, bro. I've not had to experience parenting kids before, so I don't know. Maybe.
I feel like I'm parenting my parents right now,
bro. Bro, I'm totally down. We should plan for like the first half of next year to run a half marathon, and then the second half to sign up for a full marathon. And we don't have to actually sign up for an actual marathon. We should just put it on the calendar and start hitting runs.
Oh yeah, like I think what everybody starts out with like a 5K. Like at least try a 5K.
Bro, I started out with a half mile. What you talking? I started out with running 3 minutes straight. Let's talk about that.
Oh man, I remember like the whole running thing. When I started, it was more like, again, it was like the David Goggins thing. I'm like, oh, let me see if I can. Let me try and be a badass.
No, motherfucker, stop playing with me. There's people who might not know, but when you fucking played soccer, don't lie to me about this running shit. You run 17 miles in one night. Don't fuck around.
Oh yeah, but that's different. Okay, this is 200 plus pounds me now trying to run, and it's extremely hard especially when you have when you weigh a lot more and you're not like, I think when I was in high school, it was like 160 or 170. Of course, I could run forever there.
You were built like a soccer player back then. Yeah. Now you're built like a rugby player.
Yeah, and it's totally different. So I think when did I start? I think it was like 4 weeks ago. It was like one of the heaviest I've been. I tried running, and for some reason, my knees were just killing me. And then I was like, well, why are my knees killing me? And I remember like I had like knee pain for like, I kind of still have knee pain, but it's going away. But I weighed myself, and I think it was like 214, 218, which is the heaviest I've been since I've gotten out of the military. And I'm like, oh, that's probably why I'm not even used to running at this weight. And this shit sucked. So now that I'm trying to like eat healthier, I did lose all the way down. I think I'm at like 204, 202 now. But what, are you trying to play footsies with me or something?
We can do whatever, bro. No, so I was running at like 245 when I was weighing that much. I was running like 250, 245 when I was coming down from 285. And no, shit still sucks, man. It's not easy. Like, everything just hurts. The first mile is the hardest one for me to get through. It's also the easiest one for me. Easiest one because it's like, oh, I just started. But mentally, I would say it's the easiest one. But your body's also like, fucking stop. And then you're like, your feet start hurting, your ankles start hurting, your knees start hurting, your shins. And then next thing you know, your body's just like, okay, I guess we're getting fucking abused today.
So there are some things I do that I haven't posted yet, but I kind of wanted to. So it's kind of me like complaining throughout my workouts, and then at the end of the workout, I'm like, oh, that wasn't so bad. So I have one video saved where it's like, oh, we're about to warm up with half a mile, and I'm complaining the whole way through. Well, oh, wasn't that bad. I'm like, okay, time to run like 1 mile without stopping. Oh, that sucked more than a warm up. And then like, all right, one more, and I'm like, I don't want to run anymore.
Yeah,
and then
bro.
After the 3 miles, my goal is to get to 3 miles sometimes, and then just call it a day. But it's funny seeing like me complain even more, and then at the end, like, wow, that was great. Can't wait to do it tomorrow.
Dude, I would my mentality, that was the thing I got from David Goggins, is like the mentality of like when I was running, because I get more amped up when I run.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is, like I guess it's the runner's high, I guess you would say, but
yeah.
I never felt good about it. I always just like, I'll be like 2 miles in and I'll be running at a walking pace because I'll be like so like destroyed or something like that if I haven't been running in a while, which I haven't been running in a long time now. But no, so I'd be like 2 miles in and I'd be like, don't fucking stop, pussy. Like, and I just, like, the mental, it's like, who's going to carry the boats? Like, I just go straight there and just like fucking, like, I'm like, there's a lot of people sitting on their fucking couches right now eating fucking Cheetos, and I'm like fucking getting after it. And I'm like, no, nobody else knows this. Nobody knows I'm running right now besides my wife. And I'm like, and I'm bettering myself better than most of America right now. Most of the world right now wouldn't be doing what I'm doing.
Oh, for sure. And that whole, like, I think David Goggins, when reading the book, he talked about like that voice that says like all negative doubts and stuff. So I remember running and I'd be like, man, my knees hurt. I'm out of breath. I'm tired. I need water. I'm like, oh, 2 miles. Like, let's go home. Like, no.
Bro, that internal chatter, dude.
Yeah, and then you have like the other voice saying like, quitter. I'm like, I ain't a quitter.
Yeah,
keep
bro.
running.
Yeah,
so,
and you always feel good afterwards about being done. That's my thing, is I always got done running, and I'm like, I can fucking hang my hat on today that I fucking did it.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I go to the gym like extremely late at night sometimes. Like, it's, again, like, I'm not saying the gym is, yeah, it's great for you overall, but a lot of times when I would have like a lot of stuff to do throughout my day, I would always go to like the gym to kind of get away from all my responsibilities, and, you know, I'd still feel great after. But then the next day it'd be like, man, I shouldn't have went to the gym. I
should have slept more. I
should have done my homework, or I should have done this, or I should have prepared for this. Like, now all these things that I put aside are all catching up to me. And that's all because I went to the gym. So now it's kind of, I'm getting better at that. And it feels kind of weird now because now my gym, I go to the gym like maybe 1 or 2 times a week sometimes. But if like I plan out my schedule like pretty great, I can probably go 3 to 4 times a week, but for the most part it's like 1 or 2. And it kills me sometimes because I'm like, man, why am I at work? Why am I at school?
Yeah,
why am I driving here?
Bro, I'm trying to get you to jiu-jitsu too. I'm trying to get you signed up for that. I'm like, hey Juan, let's tack another thing onto your busy ass schedule.
Let me figure my life out first.
Nah, bro, here's your new addiction. That's the bad part about jiu-jitsu, is it becomes a new addiction.
No, I bet. Like, and I've been thinking about like starting some type of fight, cause
bro, you'll slim down so quick.
Oh yeah, because like I'm pretty sure when you're doing jiu-jitsu, you're not really thinking about you're competing with somebody else. You're just trying to figure yourself out, how far you can go. Kind of
not 100% competing.
You're competing. You're trying to beat.
I'm trying to make this motherfucker die. What are you talking about?
It's kind of like,
oh, it's me versus me right now. No, this dude's trying to fuck me up. I'm trying to fuck him up.
It's kind of like being running though. Like me and running, it took me a while to kind of like fully accept it. So when I'm running now, it's like I'm at my own pace. Yeah. And I have some people like that would message me like, oh, like I run faster than you. I'm like, okay, motherfucker. All right, you want to see fast?
It's like, yeah, but do you do it after working on a roof for fucking 14 hours?
There was one, I did it after a soccer game, and that freaking killed me.
You went running after a soccer game?
Yeah, and that killed me. That's when I kind of messed up my knee.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah. Your body's like, we can't take this anymore.
But it was like the whole David Goggins part, like, yeah, quit, you pussy. I'm like, no, my knee was literally hurting, but I kept pushing through.
I mean, David Goggins is great to an extent too, because I mean, have you seen the fucking his knee stuff that they've done too?
Yeah.
I mean, at a certain point too, you know, that catches up with your body. But and you know, here, let me talk about the other sport that fucks your body up too is jiu-jitsu. So like,
I believe it.
Oh, it's fucking terrible for your body. But like, what I like about the difference between running and jiu-jitsu and why I have stopped running is because they're both terrible for your joints. But with jiu-jitsu, I've noticed when you're doing jiu-jitsu, you can't think about anything else. Your brain is so focused on what's in front of you. But with running, running was almost like a thought enhancer. Like if I like, that's where I came up with a name for this podcast of being Somehow We're Adults. I came up with that while I was running. Like if there's a problem that I need to think through, going for a walk or a run allows me to like think more about it. But at jiu-jitsu, no. Fuck no, dude. I'm not worried about what I'm having for dinner. I'm focused on not dying and being the one who is imposing death on someone else. You know what I mean?
No, but it's true that running, it came to a point where, you know, at first I would run with like music on and stuff. And yeah, it's great until the song changes, and then, you know, your whole rhythm and running changes too. Mm-hmm. So what really got me was whole like meditation. So like now I'll listen to like meditation music and running. And what that does is like the first couple minutes, yeah, you can hear the birds chirping or water's waving. No, fuck that, right? Later on, you'll hear like your own thoughts. And it's kind of like, why are you doing this? And then you're like kind of telling yourself, oh, I'm just trying to slim down. I'm like, but for what? So it's kind of like you're having a conversation with yourself. And then that's kind of how I get my runner's high. So my runner's high, once I hit that mark, I already know I'm probably going to be running for more than 30 minutes, just nonstop. The most I've done was like an hour, but I want to push it to like probably 2 hours, because I know if I can, once I guess, slim down a little bit more and I run for 2 hours straight, that should be like a good, half marathon? Maybe if I can get to 13 miles.
Yeah, it's probably about 6 miles, 6 miles an hour.
Yeah, and I'm already at 5 something. So I'm like, all right, let me just work on my miles. And I even go to the Bryant track to kind of like...
just get used to doing laps.
Pace my laps too. So like the goal is to get like a minute and 30 each lap to get like under 6. Do I ever get it to a minute 30? No. Maybe the first one, but then like the second one, like my body's tired. So, like, if I can average, I think I can average 2 minutes each lap. So, the 8-minute mile, I'm like, okay. And I already start calculating it in my head, like, 8 minutes, 24 minutes, 3 mile, 48 minutes. Never going to get like that because my body gets tired by, like, the next couple miles. But,
yeah. Bro, it's, running is definitely something. It's definitely a sport for a reason, but, since I switched to jiu-jitsu, it's like cardio-wise, like I feel like running an hour took a lot of energy in my mind, to do. It's probably the same amount of energy to actually do jiu-jitsu. One thing I noticed was that, like in jiu-jitsu, like 30 minutes to an hour goes by like that. Like it's super quick. But it also, jiu-jitsu fully exhausts my body. Like to me, when I'm running, it's mainly my legs that get exhausted. And then like, besides that, your cardiovascular system, so you're just tired, right? But like in jiu-jitsu, like, bro, your shoulders, you're like the little tiny fiber muscles that like connect your muscles together, like the little tiny ones you never think about. My experience with jiu-jitsu when I started was like every muscle you didn't know existed hurts. For somebody who like lifted weights for like 3 years before I started jiu-jitsu and was so used to lifting weights, I was like, where the fuck is this hurting in my back right now? This is insane. Like my neck pops now. It's crazy. It's the best.
But I think for like this whole change of like running and stuff, that all changed because of that ayahuasca thing I've done before.
Before we get into the ayahuasca journey, can we shout out the barbershop real quick? Where do you get your haircut at, Juan?
Fadeaway Barbershop.
And where's that at?
Plant City.
At 1705 James L. Redmond Parkway.
Well, all I know is
I memorized it because I'm the one who makes the videos. This is like the 4th time we've shouted him out. Shout out to Apex at Fadeaway Barbershop. He cuts both of our hair, but all the barbers are there are great.
Yeah, shout out to my baby girl, the one that never texts me back. You know, it's okay. You know, he don't text me back.
You talking about Adrian?
Yep.
Bro, how funny was that fucking clip I posted? Where it's like, you know him as Apex, we know him as Adrian. We're not the same, bro. That was the best caption ever, dude. It was like so many people don't know that his name, but. Shout out to that barbershop. It's the best barbershop in Plant City. It's where I get my haircut. Juan gets his haircut.
Yeah.
How long have you been getting a haircut by him?
I've been getting cut by Adrian since he was cutting at his mom's house.
Bro, same, dude. Mm-hmm. His mom made me tacos once for breakfast, dude. Like, forever. I was like, I went and got tacos, which, by the way, Adrian, I think we should add this in the experience. Just saying, if you're listening to this, we need your mom to make tacos for everybody and then the haircut. Upcharge for it. I don't give a shit. It's worth it. But thanks for providing the tequila for Juan and I to drink while we talk about this.
Yep. Thank you. God damn. Let's see how much I have left.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give me another drink. I wanted to shout out the podcast before we did that, or shout out the barbershop because I love that place. It's super nice barbershop too, because there's been other barbershops I've been to, and I don't know, man. They seem like they actually give a shit. I mean, I know Adrian does. It's a nice place, you know. It's a newer barbershop. And where they've been around like 2 years now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they just do a good job. All the barbers there. I've not seen one haircut they fucked up. And if they ever find somebody whose haircut that they don't like, they fix it. It's good stuff. So shout out Fadeaway Barbershop, Plant City, 1705 James L. Redmond Parkway. Check them out.
Yeah, they're all good. I got my haircut from I think most of them already.
Not just an advertisement. Juan and I really get our haircut there.
Mm-hmm. How much are you pouring in?
I don't know, bro. I was just gonna go for it. I'm trying to. I feel like agua. So everyone that's wondering what we're drinking, this green juice. This is cucumber. I'll shout out them too. Why not? Cucumber lime agua frescas from Taco Madre in Plant City. Great place. One of my favorite Mexican food. So okay, everyone knows my wife is Mexican, right? Yeah. So like I get all the Mexican food I want, but birria is not something they make a lot. So like this place specializes in birria, and so birria. Sorry. I have to say it like I'm white. Say it like I'm white. But, gotta say it like I'm white. But no, they make the best cucumber lime agua fresca, and I was like, I knew Juan was coming over for tequila, and I was like, what would be a good mixer? And I was like, let's fucking get some agua frescas in this.
All right, this is good. I can't even taste the tequila at all,
bro. This shit's fucking fuego. It is so good. I feel like it's refreshing.
It is.
I don't know. It reminds me of that the one that you made at that baby shower we were at.
You know what's crazy about that? I've changed the ingredients to make that so many times.
Really? Because
I think the first time I would make it, I didn't know. I knew how much to make, but I think I overthought it. So then it was like, am I putting too much lime juice? Am I putting too much cucumber juice?
As I'm stumbling back for another one.
Exactly.
You're too worried about the ratios, and I'm like, I'm fucked up.
Yeah, but now I kind of got it to a point where it's like I can make it extremely fast. Mm-hmm. So it's like I don't have to because I used to hand squeeze I still kind of do. Mm-hmm. But I used to hand squeeze it to a certain, I think 12 ounce, and then pour that in. And then it was kind of eyeballing the sugar and then trying it to make it, and then tasting it and it needs more sugar, it needs more.
You've got it down to fucking we had the back of your hand.
Yeah, kind of now.
Bro, can I tell you a tip that I saw, and this is one of the hacks I saw on Instagram that fucking makes a huge difference. I don't know if it works with limes. I know they do it with lemons, but it was a chef who said here's 4 things that you should be using the microwave for that actual chefs use the microwave for. And one of the things he did was, I think he microwaved a lemon or a lime for 10 or 20 seconds. I'd have to Google it, but basically then he put 2 bowls. He's like, here's one that has not been microwaved. Here's the one we microwaved. And way more juice came out of the one that was microwaved because it loosens all of the juice particle things up.
You want to know something crazy about microwaves?
What?
So I was watching the Joe Rogan podcast with, I think it was Tyson, the science dude, right?
Neil deGrasse Tyson?
Yeah.
I fucking hate that guy.
I love that guy.
I fucking hate that guy.
Why do you hate him?
Because I've listened to him on Joe Rogan, and he's a dick.
Why?
I don't know why he is. He just is, bro. If you listen to it, because I don't know, man. I don't know. His mind is, he's not an open-minded person. he's very much like, oh, I'm an astronomer. Aliens, why would aliens, like, I don't know. I'm so, like, 50-50 on the alien situation, and hear him talk about how he's so certain they don't exist, and I'm like, how can you be a scientist and you're, like, so sure of everything? Scientists are just people who are, this is like, oh, this is our best evidence. It's like, fuck, I don't know.
I think he's hiding stuff.
He's definitely, maybe, it's very possible. But he's got, to me, he's got an ego. And I don't, that's what I don't like.
I mean, don't most people that are that smart have one, though?
I don't know. My favorite really smart people are the ones who act like they aren't smart. Like Joe Rogan, who's really smart but acts like he's fucking dumb. Or like a lot of the scientists he have on where they're just like, this is the best we know now. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I like that. But the humbleness.
He was talking about microwaves and like, well, all microwaves are is just, what's it called? Basically friction. It's like the water molecules, they just kind of speed up because that's what heats up your food. So that's why it's great with like ramen noodles, even though the ramen noodle packet says don't microwave, but we all do it anyway.
100% we all do it.
But like he was talking about that, so I'm guessing when the chefs put the lemons in, that's kind of what it does.
Vibrates the molecules.
Yeah,
so it loosens up the little. They're like in little like sacks almost inside the lime or lemon, and it loosens it up and makes it more like softer to squeeze.
Yeah,
so you get more juice out.
I haven't done that yet, but I probably should. Because my hands hurt.
Bro, you don't have one of the little things that squeezes it for you?
Yeah, I have that too.
Oh, okay.
Like,
yeah.
But when you have to like squeeze so many, it's like...
Yeah, you get tired.
Oh, yeah. Like your hand starts to cramp up, and then you have to go bartend. It's like, like what's wrong? I'm like, nothing.
Here, squeeze. Just squeeze this for me.
You said double shot, right? Like, no. Okay. Like, here you go.
So another thing that you started to talk about earlier before I interrupted you was your ayahuasca journey. So my first question is, what prompted you to try ayahuasca?
Okay, so. Let me get comfortable here because it's story time.
The microphone moves. Don't forget that. Don't forget that clip I made where I pushed the microphone in your face and then Adrian fucked with it. Come on now. We don't need another clip like that.
So, I had a friend that was like asking me to try it out because she kind of told me like, oh, I can see you're kind of going through something. Like, you want to try this out? You know, you don't have to do it if you don't want to. And I'm like, well, what is it? She's like, well, it's ayahuasca. And I was like, you know, when somebody tells you I have to research it, so I'm researching it. I'm like, I really don't know what this is. Like, and she was like, no, like, you don't have to do it if you don't want to. So I was like, oh, okay. And for 2 years, I kept pushing it aside. And then one day, it was like a Saturday. I was like, yeah, I'm down to do it. Like, fuck it, I'm gonna go do it. And she was
you
like,
didn't plan for it? You just went and did it?
Yeah, because exactly. And the thing that's crazy was I didn't know there's like some type of because it's a ceremony thing. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know there was some type of I would say prerequisites before you do it. Like there are some people that say like, oh, don't do any drugs for like this amount of time, no sex for like this amount of time, don't eat. Yeah, it's like a lot into it. Yeah, and I didn't know that. So
you had done a bunch of drugs and a bunch of sex right before it.
No, I didn't do that.
Is that what you're saying?
No,
sorry, I'm sorry.
But it's like more. So like there's like that, you're trying to cleanse your body, right?
Right.
And then when you go do this, you'll get like a better experience. But to me, I was like, they sent me like all this stuff. I'm like, I'm just here to kind of try this out. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it's about. And they told me what to bring. So they told me to bring like a towel, a change of clothes, and that was it. But I brought my truck, and I didn't know I had a tent in the back of my truck. So once I got to the site, I didn't know I was in like Native American grounds, which was the crazy part, because when I'm driving, you know, you see the pavement roads and stuff. Next thing you know, I make a turn, and it's like dirt road. And I'm like, what the heck? And again, I'm like, I'm not even thinking about all this stuff. I pull up there. They tell me to park in the back. I park in the back. You see the basic tents like at the farmers markets or anything, like those 4 poles and stuff. And they're all like, yeah, if you have a tent, you can put one there. I'm like, oh, okay. So I bring my tent out there.
Are you talking like the canopy tents? Like it's like 4 poles, but like it's like when you walk under. It's not like a tent.
Yeah, it was like that.
Okay.
So then, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I was thinking about like Native American tents that you saw like in cartoon drawings, right? But no, it was
Like a teepee.
Yeah, basically. So I didn't see any of that. So I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And I remember being guided. She was like, oh yeah, there are like the porta potties there if you have to use it. Everybody was kind of in a circle, right? And they're like, yeah, we're gonna start. But when they do that, they take away your phone. So they're like, you give them your phone, you give them any personal belonging. Well, it's just basically your phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
and your truck keys too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I imagine if you take ayahuasca and you go drive around the dually, that would not be good.
That would not be good. So I remember I took it. I remember everybody got there like pretty late.
Start like I want to hear more. I want more details. So like you get there, it's a circle. You set up the tent.
Okay, so it was still kind of like daylight. It was about to be sunfall, and I remember like asking questions. Like, and again, I don't even think I knew anybody's name still to this point. Only the one person that invited me, and I remember.
Had they done it before, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay, they had done.
Yeah. So there was like some people I was asking like. Is this your first time trying? Like, oh no, mine was yesterday. And there were some people that were like looking for this event for like for years. Like one gentleman was asking me like, yeah, I've been planning this for 5 years, man.
Yeah, when you said you'd done it spur of the moment, I was like, don't most people plan to do this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just kind of like, fuck it. So
everything else.
I remember going there and the lady was asking like, have you done any drugs? And I was like, like I've only done like, like marijuana. And she was like, oh, that's it. Like, yeah, like that's all I do. Like, because I was at a bad, like that was kind of my getaway from like my busy life. And she was like, oh, okay. Like, when was the last time you did it? And I was like, probably last night. And she was like,
probably.
She was like, probably last night. And she was like, oh, okay. Like, you'll be fine. And I'm like, okay. And again, I was like, all right, I don't know what to expect, right? Because the only thing I have to relate with like something like under the influence was just that. Nothing else. It was just that and alcohol, and that's it. And I remember asking like people that were about to be like in my tent, they say like, oh, that's your tent buddy or something. Basically meaning like they just people that come, they just need somewhere to lay under a tent. And the guy asked me was like, hey, make sure you stare at the stars. And I didn't know what he meant by that. I'm like, and this is when you start thinking about like the whole hippie thing. It's like, why are these people dressed in like loose clothing and stuff like that? And I saw that. I'm like, man, these people are like dressed super like in loose clothing, like white pants or white light fabric pants or something like that. And I'm like, okay. Like you start seeing it all around you. I'm like, I feel like I'm almost surrounded by a bunch of hippies. But I was like, oh, okay, there has to be a reason because of it. But that's because of the journey like they go through. And it's kind of makes sense now. And this guy came like super prepared, like sleeping bag, freaking fan, like everything. And I'm like, man, I just brought a freaking towel. Like, that's all I brought. But he was like, oh, like he was nice enough to give me like something like under to like some type of like mat under and be like, yeah, I have an extra one, just use it. Here's an extra blanket. And I'm like, oh, great. And for my pillow, I just used like, I guess my clothes that I brought. And I remember, it's about to get dark and everybody was there. They're all kind of like talking about like their journey yesterday and stuff. But I was new there, so I didn't know what to expect. And I was asking...
Had you not listened to any stories of people doing it at that point? I
did, but it wasn't very descriptive, or it wasn't... It wasn't. I didn't see anything very descriptive.
So you didn't really know what you were getting into?
No, I wasn't at all. So...
because I've heard some really descriptive stories, and I'm pretty sure I know what's coming. Sorry, go ahead.
So I get there, and then this is the crazy part. The shaman comes out. And the shaman was an actual, he was an actual native, like, he was legit. Like, I'm not gonna lie, he was legit. Like, came in with the hat, right? But it wasn't like, oh, like the freaking like feather hat you kind of see or on cartoons and stuff. No, this guy was like real, but he talked very, I would say, earthy. So it was very like the people, like kind of like, I can't really, it's been so long, I can't quite remember it, but he was more.
How long has it been since you've done it? It was a couple months, right?
Yeah, it was a couple months ago.
Yeah.
But the way he spoke very like, kind of like the Native Americans you see on the cartoons and stuff, like how they like, I wouldn't say they're very, it's slow talking, it's very like
choppy.
Very choppy.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because the choppy part, like it kind of like messes, I wouldn't say it messes with you, but it's kind of like
you hang on every word.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've noticed.
But I remember he was talking about like one of the first things he opened up was the Oppenheimer movie. You're like, oh, they say he was the smartest man, like smarter than Einstein. And we're like, yeah. And like, do you think it was smart to create like some type of like a type of bomb that can kill millions of people? And I was like, oh damn, I didn't see it that way. But I was like, oh damn, that's pretty true. And then he talks about like, you know, we see it too growing up in school, like, yeah, we took away their land and stuff like that, whatever. But he was actually talking about, like, this used to be all ours. And I was like, damn, like, shit. And I'm right in there. And I'm like, damn, like, this is what I learned in school. But I couldn't say anything about it. And then he said, like, if this is your first time, like, come up here and take the drink, hold on to your, like little shot glass. So it was, like, probably like this big, like a little shot glass, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, he was like, who's first time here? So I went there and I took it like a tequila shot. Like it tasted very I guess like rooty.
Mm-hmm. Well, because it's made from roots, right?
Yeah, root and like kind of like dirt, like super dark coffee too.
Yeah.
And I
heard it's disgusting.
It's very disgusting. And it's not one of those things where like people want to party with. Like no. It's like, oh, like
it's meant to be done like as a ceremony.
Yeah, it's a ceremonial thing. And I remember taking it, and he would say like, if you got to throw up, go throw up at like this hole over there. So they had like a hole, like 3 holes or something, and you throw up there, and it was to take away the bad spirits.
Which is traditional, which you didn't know, I'm assuming, when you showed up.
I knew, like he told us everything, like if you throw up the bad spirits, and
it's like throwing up your demons,
basically. And bro, it took me a while to get there, and I remember again, this was the whole cleansing part, like getting your body like super cleansed. But I wasn't really aware with that, because when you think of yourself like, oh, you're gonna throw up or shit yourself in front of people, like what do you try to do? It's like you hold on to that shit until you do it in private, right? So I remember I took it, and he said, you know, your phone's taken away, your key's taken away at this point, and it's dark now. And I remember I took it, and I went to my tent to lay down and stare at the stars at what
were you like high at that point, or were you just chilling?
I was just chilling. And this is when, I mean, like, it's not something I would recommend to somebody that thinks it's like, oh, it's fun to do. Like, this is more of like...
It's a spiritual thing, right?
Yeah, it's a spiritual thing. And I remember laying there, and it felt forever, like... Because I could hear people, like, start yakking immediately, like, yak. And I'm thinking, like, I'm excited, like, oh, I'm next. It never came to me at that instance. So I'm just standing there. I remember, like, laying down. I'm like, I ain't feeling shit. Like, nothing. So I stand up, and he said, like, there was a fire there, and he says fire creates. So just stare at the fire and just think, like, about yourself. And I'm just like, okay. So I sit down, stare at the fire, nothing. I'm like, man, I gotta go use the restroom. Walk to the porta potty, come back. I'm looking around everybody at the tent, right? Like in the circle. And I see some people like yakking, some people like...
You say yakking, you mean like vomiting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some people like walking over there to throw up their demons and stuff. And I'm just like, I really don't feel anything.
It's that Mexican blood, son. They ain't ready for me.
Yeah. So I go back to laying down, staring at the stars. Nothing. I'm like, man. Well, you know, and at this point, I go back to the fire, and I'm just thinking about my life at this point. I'm like, why am I here? What made me just decide this so last minute to try something I've never done before, and probably most of my friends never done before, and I'm just there staring at the fire, thinking about my life. And it's like, this was probably one of the first times I actually like thought, like, what am I doing with my life? And I'm not saying, oh, it's because I took that. No, I was legitimately, I'm like, here I am. Like, if you think about it, I was like, here I am taking this drink from a guy from a shaman who I've first met, like, before, sitting here in a circle with a bunch of, like, people I've never met before, except that one person that invited me. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, because they divide boys and girls up, too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just there. I'm like, nothing. And I remember looking at the fire, and then all of a sudden, my whole world just goes, whoom. And I'm like, oh boy. And I got excited. I'm not going to lie. So I'm like, oh, it's happening. It's happening. And the first thing that came to mind was like, I got to stare at the stars. So I quickly like go to my mat, and I'm like laying down looking at the stars. And I'm like, oh. And then all of a sudden, like, the stars were so bright, because they weren't as bright before, because it was like very cloudy, and I'm like, I can't see stars here. But this time I see all the stars, and for some reason all the stars starts like connecting the dots and stuff. And bro, like,
start tripping balls.
Oh yeah. So the next thing you know, like, it's like the lines are coming to me, and then all of a sudden it's like, boom, I'm in a different world, different anything. I've never experienced this before, and it's kind of like taking me back to like past lives. So I remember it felt like a dream. I'm like, I'm awake, and let's see, what was man, I wish you had me on this podcast sooner.
Yeah, I tried to. We're busy people. It happens.
Yeah, I remember there were three. Oh, one of the biggest one was the bombing of Hiroshima, and yeah, this is like deep. So I even did the math. I think it was like 54 years ago or something like that. But it's saying like you go back to like your past lives or something like that. And he mentioned that like you're going back. Supposedly you go back 7 generations. And
Jesus.
Yeah. So I remember one of them was the bombing of Hiroshima.
That happened in 43 or 45 or something like that.
It was like, I'm not sure if it was 50 or maybe it was like, I don't know. But it was like something.
It was like 70, 80 years ago.
Yeah.
Let's see. Here, you keep talking. I'm going to Google it.
But I remember, like, you hear noises. Like, I was there, and I think I was a girl. And I was screaming, and my parents are, like, under the table telling me to quickly come. Like, come over here. And they're all under the table. My mom and my dad are under the table at that point. And they're screaming at me, trying to get under the table.
Quick question. When you say your mom and your dad, like, it's not your mom and your dad, like in this life now. It was your mom and your life, mom and dad of that life.
Yeah. And they were, like, telling me to hurry up and go get your brother. And I looked back, and my brother was over here. So I'm reaching out to grab him. And when I look over, the whole room turns white because the bomb killed us.
No shit.
Yeah, and the next thing you know, I wake up, and guess where I'm at now? Japan. Well, so I think I'm in Japan. I don't know.
Well, Hiroshima's in Japan.
Well, it was like, I wouldn't say it was like, it just felt like I was washed ashore, and I was kind of stumbling my way through the forest. And this was like when samurais were there or something like that. So these, I wouldn't say they were very, like the samurais you see on cartoons or tattoos or whatever like that. It was more of like this black figure that was beating the shit out of me, and he kept telling me to get up. So I kept getting up because I'm guessing back then, like, Japan didn't like foreigners very well. So like I was just there, and they're kind of telling me like, where are you from? But I didn't know where I was from. So I was like, bro, I'm just waking up. Like, what do you expect? I don't know where I'm from. And next thing you know, they kind of bring me in. They're like, he doesn't know where he's at. I really didn't. And then next thing you know, eventually we go to war, and then I die in like a fire, and then I wake up, and next thing you know, I'm in like, I'm not saying I was in Africa or something like that. I was like, it's so hard to remember. All I know is like, I guess I was black, okay, but I got ran over by like some type of animals, and then I died there. So it's like all these things I'm remembering, I'm dying every single time.
You experience multiple deaths.
Yeah, but
I think that's what I've heard of from stories too. Is you experience multiple like deaths and rebirths, basically.
Yeah. So I've experienced 3 deaths that I can actually like picture, but the other ones I can't. Like I can only go up to 3. And I remember when I woke up from it, like obviously like the next day, I talked to my friends about it, and she was like, "Oh yeah, you gotta keep going to them so you can actually figure out." Like your whole like generations and stuff, but and I was like, you don't do it obviously like every day or something. She was like, no, it's like when it comes, like cleanse your body so you can actually get the full experience. And it's true what they say about like whole psychedelics and stuff. It's a feeling like no other. It's the
What did you learn?
What I learned? Perspective. That's the one of the biggest things I learned there, because so the whole time I was often thinking about like my perspective in life, like, oh, like for instance, my friends don't want to hang out with me and stuff like that. Fuck my friends, blah blah blah, this and that. No, it's more like, bro, they're busy with their lives too. You can't let people assume that just because they're not hanging out with you, they don't want to hang out with you. No, they're busy with their own lives. And then it was like, oh, why is my dad mad at me? Well, is he mad at me because it's me, or is he mad because he had a bad day? Stuff like that. So I've learned like perspectives now. Like when somebody's mad, I'm like, kind of hold my tongue for a little bit. I'm like, well, why is he mad? So even at work now, when people get upset, I'm like, yo man, why are you upset? They're like, no, well, this is job and stuff. I'm like, are you upset because of the job, or are you upset because something's going on at home? And then kind of like, that's when the whole communication thing comes in. Oh,
sorry, that was a little screechy.
So like I learned that perspective part. Now this is the crazy part. You take another shot when you're over there.
Really? So you're already tripping balls?
Yeah, but then it starts to go away because it goes in waves. Mm-hmm. So like it's like wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I think I went from wave 1, 2 straight to 5.
Oh shit!
And then like once it started dying down, it's like you can snap out of it. If I wanted to go to the restroom, I can go to the restroom, walk fine, come right back. But then I remember the shaman was like, if you want to take a second one, just come to the line. I went to the line. I was like,
Juan's like, shot.
I was like, I don't know what I saw. I want to try this shit again. Took that. And he said if you want to take a third one later on, but he has to be the one that like kind of, because it's a medical thing too. So he kind of like, he's not trying to get you fucked up. He's
trying to make sure you don't die too.
Yeah. So he was like, I only went up to 2. He says like people that are like really into it and like found themselves, they go up to 3. Mm-hmm. So I was just like, oh, okay. I only went up to 2. And I remember before my second one, well, after my second one, my tent buddy, he was talking to me about his life. And he was like, yeah, man, but this, I'm not sure if this dude was really into it or if he was just trying to get fucked up. Because he was like smoking and stuff like that right after his first one. I'm like, is this dude really smoking? Like the shaman told us, like, you know, experience it. I think this dude was just trying to get fucked up. So I was like, all right. And he's telling me about his life and stuff. I'm like, oh, okay. And this is kind of when I've learned like more about myself. Like, is this why I act this way? Like, so when you go back to your past generations, you kind of see how you act there. And it's like, is this why I'm always very calm? Is this why I'm always hardworking? Like, what am I trying to prove? Stuff like that. There has to be a reason. Like, what is my why? The second one, though, it was more of like, I guess more of the perspective thing. So I think one of the things I started like thinking about was like my love life and shit. And it saw myself like going through like my past relationship seeing myself being an asshole, which I'm not gonna lie, I used to think I was in the right, but I would see it from their perspective. So I was like, damn, I didn't realize I was that much of an asshole and stuff. And it was like key parts that you were in like your past relationships, that like why you were fighting and stuff like that. And you can remember it to where it's like, oh, this is why I did this. But then I started seeing it from their eyes, and I'm like, because again, you're like seeing things from different perspectives. And then I go back in time, or not back in time, but I started seeing it from the perspective of my dad, my perspective of my mom, like, why do they act that way? And shit was tough. So I was like, damn. And I kind of started developing, like, damn, is that why my dad's an asshole and shit? And like, he had a tough childhood. So did my mom and shit. So, I developed that thing. And I still haven't threw up at this point. Because I'm not going to lie, like that ayahuasca, like, little root thing, it makes it feel like you want to shit yourself sometimes. But I had too much pride. I was clenching my ass cheeks like, I ain't fucking shitting here, okay? So, and I didn't want to throw up. So I remember it was like, when I tell you, like, you are in pain, like, during, like, you're not experiencing those visuals and stuff, you're in extreme pain. Like, my whole body just felt like I was in purgatory. Like, you're looking up at the night. I'm like, bro, when is the sun coming out? Like, you don't have your phone. You have no sense of time. Like, time goes away. And it just feels like you're there for eternity. It's like, this shit sucks. And I'm like, and I remember, like, feeling all shitty. I'm like, this is something I do not recommend for people to take unless they're willing to, like, go through this journey and stuff. And after the second one, like, after my experience, like, my visuals go away and stuff, I started seeing like a little bit of the sunrise. So I was like, oh, I made it. I was so happy. But what's it called? I remember seeing everybody like all fucked up, like the shaman talking and shit. I'm looking around in the circle like, damn, all these guys are fucked up. I mean, so was I, but
they're probably looking at you thinking the same thing.
Yeah, but like some people were like sleeping like this and stuff, like around the circle. And I remember he was saying, like, make sure y'all let it go. So I remember, like, being in the circle and stuff, but I was walking around, and I was like, man, I, like, feel something right here, and it does not feel good. So I was like, I'm going to just go lay down. And when I couldn't even go to sleep, and I just kept thinking to myself, like, let it go, let it go, let it go. And that's when I was like, oh, shit, I got to throw up. So
after the sun comes up?
Yeah, the sun was up. It was like, it wasn't like it was like a early sunrise, kind of like a little red sometimes. It was about to be like kind of like daytime.
It wasn't dark anymore.
Yeah. So I remember like quickly running to the burial site and staring down, and it felt like I threw up a lot. It was just all my demons going out. Like, I was like, it was all the bad past relationships, the relationship with my dad, my family, just unnecessary, like, just bad demons I was holding on to for a really long time. And I'm not gonna lie, it was a lot of throw up. Like, I was throwing up a lot, and it was like all black and
That's
shit.
what I've heard.
Yeah. And I remember like staying there, catching my breath, and then once I like get up, best feeling in the world. It was like, you get up, you start to sweat, but the sweat feels so good. It's like, oh, like the air hits you and stuff. You feel so cool. And I'm like, that is the best feeling I've ever had. And I felt so different after that, because it was like I had like all that weight off my shoulders that I've held on to for so long just go away. And I think after the thing, I was extremely hungry. So I went to IHOP. And this is when I started drinking coffee, because I've never drank coffee like, you know, like a cup of coffee or anything in the morning. No, I went to IHOP, and the lady was like, oh, what would you like? And I was like, can I just get coffee? She's like, oh, sure. And you know, at IHOP, they bring you that handle and stuff. Like, you want cream and sugar on that? And I'll just leave them on the side. That's when I started drinking black coffee, just coffee black. never drank coffee like that before, and the first thing I wanted to do was just drink black coffee, and it tasted so good for some reason. So that's all I've been drinking now is just black coffee. And then, you know, I go to Starbucks now and I'll get coffee there, like the whole freaking things I see on TikTok and stuff. But for the most part, black coffee is what I'll drink. And
just out of nowhere. Never drank coffee with sugar or cream on a regular basis. Now you drink black coffee.
Yeah. Like,
that's a fucking jump.
It is a jump. And that's when I was like, oh, I feel so calm drinking it. Like, and yeah, it was like, after that, that's when I kind of started getting into David Goggins. So it's kind of like made myself better even more and just kind of pushing myself more rather than getting back into the bad routine I used to be in. So then now it's like I'm in go mode, like automatically. Now, is it perfect? No, there are some days I just feel like I need a break, I need to do this, or I get lazy and stuff. Do I regret that the next day? Of course I do, but it was one of the best experiences in my life. And
you think you'll do it again?
Oh, hell yeah. I'll do it again.
Yeah?
I want to feel like shit. Okay.
What was your biggest takeaway from it? It was just perspective wise, you just felt like you're like, okay, I need to like realize how short life is and start enjoying my life? Or you think you were just grinding too much and just hating it and you wanted to start more enjoying the aspects of it?
It was more of like, what is your reason? Like, why are you working so much? Why are you doing this? Why are you in constant battle? Why are you in constant stressful situations and stuff like that? Like, what is your purpose? And that was like the main thing. So they're like, oh, you can live your life and stuff. Like, no, like you come from your upbringings for a reason. Like, what is it that you're trying to get out of it? And I felt like I've learned it. The roofing business is like the biggest thing in my mind right now, but it's also one of the things that it's hard to get to, because when you're doing the hauling business or doing roofing, doing school, the bartending, it's like, oh yeah, that all takes up your day Monday through Saturday. When do you have time to do the roofing license? Sundays, my day's off. And it's like, do you want to work on your day off? A lot of people don't want to. Heck, sometimes I don't want to work. I don't want to work on my day off, but I have to just sit there and just kind of suck it up, because I know deep down, once I do get this license, I'll probably be in a better place. All this weight will lift off my shoulders, and I can actually just sit down and kind of just like plan things out better. It's like, oh, I don't have to go work for the man anymore, or work for this guy who doesn't know what it's like, or work for a certain boss that doesn't know what it's like to work sunrise to sunset while he wakes up at 9 a.m. and stuff. I'm like, bro, I'm up at 5 a.m. I don't want to wake up at 5 a.m. every day for the rest of my life and stuff.
Right.
And that's it.
You know, I wonder too if when you get your roofing license, if you also finish school around the same time, like how much of your time would free up at that point? Like it would be like, I feel like you needed a purpose. It's like almost so much of your time right now is taken up by other things for a purpose. And then once all of those things hit, it's going to be like you have so much more free time.
Oh, yeah. And I already kind of thought about what I want to do next.
What's that?
Coaching.
You coach soccer? Dude, you would be so good at it.
Oh, yeah. I'll be like...
Just run, bitch.
Because I used to coach my sister's team, but this time it'll be like, oh, somebody that grew up in Plant City Lancers, who kind of did it all, is kind of going back to like mentor the next generation. So then I can be like, oh, whose dad's here, like pick the fields, or whose dad's here, or parents here work in construction, and all these young kids are like, oh, I do. I'm like, yeah, I used to be like that too.
Yeah.
Like, oh, who has to work during the summer?
You just want to be like a mentor.
That's the
on
main
top
thing.
of the coach, yeah.
And it's like, I'm not
show kids that there's another way, because unfortunately, too many Hispanic parents, like they show you, this is what I do, this is the only way, and then you want to show them that there's other ways to live life.
Oh, for sure. And even most of my projects that I do in school, it's all mostly Mexican, like first, second generation Mexican Americans. And then there's actually a study, which is like, why is it that a lot of first and second generation Mexican Americans don't pursue school. And that is because, for the men part, the ones that work with their dad and uncles, they feel like they have to make income like immediately, right after high school. So a lot of them are like, oh, I'd rather make money now.
And they make serious income too. So it's hard to deny it.
Yeah, they do make good income. But it's like they'll purposely like work these extremely long hours because long hours come with it.
It's like concrete, roofing, landscaping. Yeah, all these back-breaking jobs.
So they'll work it. And sometimes, like, I know they'll go through their head like, oh, I could have done something else. But because they were so influenced, like, oh, like, you got to work immediately after. And which is weird because a lot of Mexican Americans, men, they're not pushed into college or into studies because they're told, I mean, nowadays they're told like, oh, college is a scam and stuff like that. So it doesn't help that out, but
for a lot of people, college is a scam too, to be fair. Yeah, to be fair.
But they get that mindset and they just kind of want to, they just work, like, which is nothing bad, if you work, that's it. But women, on the other hand, for Mexican American, or just not any first generation, second generation, Latin Americans, they feel like the house chores are more important than pursuing an education, which is why a lot of them run away. Which I see it all the time. Like, oh, she ran away. They'll say they ran away, like, with their boyfriend and stuff. No, they just want to get out of the household because those chores, they eat them up. It's like, oh, you got to take care of the kids. Oh, you got to go cook. You got to go clean this and that.
Traditional stuff, yeah.
Yeah, like, well, when are they going to live their own life? Heck, even in my family right now, most of the women in my family, right after high school, they'll just stay home. Like, well, what do? They just do house chores.
Yeah, they become housewives.
Like, homemakers. That's if they can get a housewife. That's if they can get married, because my parents are extremely strict. So, my sisters weren't allowed to date, and it's weird because like the son can go out and date, but the daughter usually can't. Mm-hmm. It's just weird like that.
So, as you know, my wife has 4 older brothers, no older sisters. Oh. She's the youngest. So, traditional Mexican household. And she got told when she turned 15, okay, now you need to start learning to like cook, clean, and basically be a housewife. And she was like, I'm sorry, did any of my brothers have to do that? She was like, and her mom is a very thoughtful and reflective person. Like, she actually thinks. Her mom is one of the, like, one of those people that I don't even know if she graduated middle school, and she is one of the smartest people ever. Emotionally, her emotional intelligence is through the roof. And so when Daniela was like, did any of my brothers have to do this? She was like, no, I guess that's kind of a good point. Like, am I just forcing you to do this because you're a girl? Because that's not okay either. Like, none of your brothers know how to cook. Like, what the fuck am I doing? So my wife never learned how to do traditional female things, and I feel like that's also part of the reason that we're together is because like my family took on the responsibility of like teaching me and my brother like, hey, you need to know how to do everything, because if you know how to do everything, you don't have to rely on other people to do anything. And so like, I know how to do laundry, I know how to cook, I know how to like vacuum and sweep, mop, all that shit, like and I also know how to like mow the yard and do like traditional man shit, you know what I mean? So it's like it kind of is a good balance of all of those things. So I get the idea of it too, because now once we're older too, we talk more about like how the school system sucks, and it's like, if you were going to raise kids, like, wouldn't you want your wife to stay home with the kids and like take care of them and make sure the house is okay, so that you can focus on like when you get home from work, you could just focus on like being with the kids and being present.
Oh yeah, it's a big thing because for instance, in I don't have any kids and stuff, but
that you know of, right?
No, I don't have any kids. But in my family, for instance, we are constantly busy to a point where it's like my mom chose to work, so she works, and she gets out like at 5 or something like that. And then obviously me and my dad work, and my brother work, who's there to take care of the little ones?
Because how many siblings do you have?
7.
I was gonna joke and say 17, but I would be close.
No, no, but it's like, who's there to like set the right manners to them? Like,
Expectations.
show them.
Yeah.
Nobody's there, and if nobody's there, then like, who are they hanging out with? Who are their friends and stuff?
Who
like
are their
that?
influences? Yeah.
Exactly, and that's the thing that we kind of started missing. And this is kind of when I kind of start babysitting my parents, which I'll say like, hey, why don't you go take them to Mosey or something? Like, why is it always Sunday and y'all just take them out to one restaurant and that's it? Like, you guys kind of have to be parents, you know. Take them to sports, put them in activities. Yeah, and they're just like, oh no, they just don't want to. I'm like, how do they not want to? You guys aren't showing them the way. Like,
They don't know anything different.
so now every week, this is kind of why you kind of started seeing me post with like my siblings and stuff. It's like I'm taking them out. I'm like, oh, where are we going? To the mall. Amy, one of my sisters, she's like, oh yeah, we're going to the mall because she's at that age. Lily and Pancho are just like, I don't want to go to the mall.
Fuck this shit.
I want to play on my iPad and play Roblox or whatever. And then now it's like, no, you know, you got to teach them that. And I do want them to be athletic, so I do want to put them in some type of sport. And it's like,
You've become their parent.
yeah, it's kind of becoming that, and it's like, it shouldn't be my job, but as the older sibling, you got to set that example. So
You're like feeling you feel like responsible to fill the gap that you believe your parents are leaving in their lives.
oh yeah, and you know they don't see it, and I tell them too all the time, like, look, man, like, I wish I had their childhood, like I do, because I didn't have all that stuff when I was growing up at that age. Like, I had to be on a roof at like age 10 because my dad didn't know how to translate English to the customers. So 10-year-old me is going there, picking up nails and stuff, passing shingles to my dad on a hot roof over the summers and stuff. And Pancho is just in his room playing on his iPad.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, you could be a monster nowadays. Like, you can literally go practice a sport, be like obsessed with it. You'll become a pro at like no time, because kids nowadays don't even want to go play outside.
People don't realize too, if they don't know you or didn't know you like as long as I've known you, like you almost played professional soccer.
I wouldn't say professional.
Didn't you get drafted? Like someone offered you a contract?
I've had a few. So what I was thought, because when I played with Lancers, our coach told us like, oh, like this is the team that's looking at you. But I haven't really had like, I've had like 2 coaches that came up to me like after I left, and it was like NAIA schools, which it was still something, but then I kind of left that. And then once I went to the military, this is kind of when I got the most of my exposure, because I think I went to Keesler Air Force Base, and then they were, one of my sergeants there was like, you're a Rosales, you're Mexican, aren't you? I'm like, yeah. He was like,
You're Mexican, aren't you?
He's like,
what?
He's like, do you play soccer? And I was like, yeah. He's like, great, you're on the team. But he didn't mean it like that. He just kind of wanted to see me scrimmage and stuff. And he was like, when was the last time you played? I was like, well, I was in boots the whole time. So I was like, well, the last time I played was 2 years ago when I was back at home. He was like, were you good? Now, this is the different part.
You said that on the podcast before. You've told this story before. You're like, I'm okay.
I'm okay. Yeah. He was like, hell no. I remember I was eventually, like, my first day at practice, I was just schooling these people.
Yeah.
And then he was like, no, you fucking asshole.
Yeah. I went to one game once for our high school team, and I remember watching you just making it look like fucking levels. I mean, you literally, like... It was hard to believe you guys were all playing on the same field. Like it was always like you guys are technically supposed to be equals, and you're just like, the way I explained it was Juan was so fast that he would kick the ball from one corner to the other corner, and he would be the one who received it in the other corner from himself. It was like if everybody was playing in slow motion and Juan was playing in fast forward. It was insane to watch. The one game I went to, I literally was like, it was you and Zach, and you guys were just fucking. It was just literally between the two of you guys. You guys ran the entire fucking game.
Yeah,
it was
Zach
intense.
Zach would just long ball to me. Or he'll
Pretty
find
much.
me.
Just like get the ball to Juan, and Juan will do the rest. Yeah.
One of the moments and Zach was an amazing defender because he was tall as shit.
And white. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
But I remember one of the best moments. This is kind of an asshole move for me. We were playing like a sorry. I wouldn't say sorry. They weren't as good of a high school team, right?
Compared to you.
Yeah.
We were at Strawberry Crest.
So I remember I had the ball and I was in like my own half and I just had it. You could hear the stands here, and like I see my sister at the corner. I'm like, I'm about to do this person dirty. This person comes up to me and I'm just kind of like staring at him, and he's like trying to like move left, move right. I kind of open him left, right, and he has his legs open, and I'm like, oof. And here comes the nutmeg. And I just go through him. You hear the stands like, ooh. I kind of wanted to go back, just do it again, but I was like, no, I gotta keep moving. But
You just disrespected that man in front of his family. His family just watched him get disrespected.
But then, like, even now, like, I'll play in Sunday League in Plant City, and sometimes my competitive side comes out, but it's like...
Don't lie to me. Don't tell me, oh, sometimes you're just playing around.
No.
Don't fucking sit there and lie to me, son.
No, Sunday League and Dynamo is different, because everybody there is, like, it's co-ed. Mm-hmm. So, like, there are some people there that are, like, really old, like 50 years old. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I'm not going to break this person's ankles and stuff like that. But...
Dude, you were so good. I can't believe you, like, being, like, halfway be like, oh, I'm not going to destroy this person.
Yeah.
It's like Michael Jordan playing in, like, a pickup game. You know what I mean? Like, it's just in my mind.
I'm getting back into it, but it's like, for instance, in the Sunday League in Dynamo, I had one person was talking hella, like, trash to me. And it was, like, almost really disrespectful. But I was just like, yo, man, like... why are you acting that way? It's just rec. Like, you're like, no, you guys suck. Blah, blah, this and that. And I was just like, again, it's just rec. I'm like...
And I took that personally.
That was later on. So what I did was, like, he was like, oh, my 9-year-old plays better than you. And I was like, bite your tongue, Juan. Bite your tongue. And I think what he said, he was like, yeah, I run like one of the other persons on the team. I don't know why they were talking so much trash. There was like 3 guys talking trash. So, I think what happened, he was just like, yeah, whatever, blah, blah. I just had enough of it. And I was like, all right, I'm going to get the ball and I'm going to school you really dirty. And then I'm going to just give you the ball because you need the help. So I had the ball. He was like, yeah, what are you going to do? I did him so dirty. He was like looking the other way. I'm like, bro, ball's over here. And he's like looking back. And I was already the other way. And he was like, I was like, man, this is too easy. Here's the ball. Like, this is it for me. And he gets the ball. He's like, yeah, I got the ball. Took the ball away. Scored. I score a goal on him, and he's just, and I just like, no need to thank me. No need to thank me. Quiet. Just completely quiet.
Shut him the fuck up.
Oh, yeah. And then after, I was like, you know what? I need a sub because I know myself. I'm going to get extremely angry because it's co-ed. I don't want them to be like, everybody on my team is really respectful. So I'm not going to be like the asshole on the field. Yes, they want to win and stuff, but at this point, I was
You're
like...
You're disrespecting them?
I'm disrespecting them. Because there's like a rule, like if... you're up by 3, only women can score, or you can only score by a header or something like that.
Yeah.
But when the score is pretty high up there, it's like, just take me out. Like, yeah. Just put me back in when the game's closed.
Dude, oh man, that's funny. I just remember, because didn't Ivan, not your brother Ivan, but there was another Ivan you played soccer with. Didn't he go professional?
He played college.
Because you got scouted at the same time as him. Because you two were like the best on the team, from what I remember.
No, it was Omar played.
Sorry, not Ivan.
Yeah, Omar played in Germany as a pro, and Ivan played at UNF, which is still a good school.
Wasn't the same people that was looking at him looking at you too?
It's all different. It's because like I kind of. Oh, excuse me. I stopped playing at like competitive soccer at around, I would say, late junior year. I could just cold turkey. Just stop.
What was the reason?
Parents. So
You had to work?
yeah, it wasn't just that. I was a bad kid at the same time too. So it was more of like, it all built up on me. I was like, why do I have to constantly like live this way when they all live this way and stuff? So I kind of felt like I have to fight for myself. So I took a risk, and they're like, oh, we pay for your soccer, which is true. I didn't have money and shit like that. So I stopped playing. And from there, did that affect me mentally? It kind of did. It was just like, oh, like the sport I used to love so much, and I kind of put it away. And then I think one day my sister had like, oh yeah, I was just bored some days, and my sister, I'd be like, hey, let's go practice. I'm gonna teach you some few moves and stuff. And she was like, oh, okay. So I was teaching her how to like open up, how to create space and small things. And she had a tournament, and she was like the best player they ever seen there. And they were like, oh, who the heck, how'd you learn all this stuff? She's like, my brother taught me. He's like, can he teach us? And then junior and senior year, I started coaching a girls team. And I actually learned more about coaching than I did playing, because when I was playing, like, I could only see it in my own ways. Mm-hmm. When I was coaching, it was more like I knew my players' strengths and weaknesses. It felt great, especially when it came to free kicks.
Do you think that if you hadn't stopped playing soccer in high school, you would have pursued it further? Because you were really fucking good.
Oh, for sure. But I didn't. Like, I see all my friends.
Do you regret that?
Do I regret that?
I assume not, because you wouldn't. You've lived the life you live now up to this point. But do you think about it a lot? Like when you did your ayahuasca thing, like was that something where you're like, well, I wonder what my life would have turned out as had I pursued that?
Oh, for sure. I'm pretty sure I would have went pro. Like, I'm driven as it is now, but if I were
and you were really good back then.
And if I were to like stick with it, like it all depends. If I had like bad friends, if I were to go to the professional route or something, like maybe it wouldn't have turned out as great as I thought I would. But I was also a very competitive person. So it's like, where's the best player on the team? Like, who's the best dribbler? Who's the best or the fastest, whatever you name it? I want to like keep challenging the sky until I become as fast or better. Mm-hmm. And that was my thing. So it was always crazy when like I'd be practicing at like Lancers and stuff. They're like, Juan, Omar, y'all guys are gonna face each other. We're like, oh, all right, bitch. Like, me and you one more time.
Yeah, y'all were like neck at neck. I remember seeing like the two of you guys. It was very apparent. It was like a competition to see who was better that day.
It's always still is. And like now it's kind of different, because when I face them like in Sunday League and stuff, I'm like, it's like they're not at their best. So I kind of feel like, whatever.
Do you play them now?
Not really. Like they have like we played them before, but my team is really good too, so we beat them every time. And this is kind of when like the whole shit talking comes. Oh, but they'll talk shit like, oh, we're gonna beat you by all this. And this is me like, look, man, we're already gonna win. I'm not saying it to talk shit. I'm just saying we're gonna win tomorrow, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Which is its own form of shit talking.
So it's a more confident form. So then the next day we face them, and they're all like, oh yeah, we're gonna beat you guys. I'm like, look, man, I'm just say good game. Like, good game. The game hasn't even started yet. Game is over. It's like 2-1 or 1-0 or whatever. We faced them in the finals and stuff. And we won on like penalties and stuff. And when I tell you, it was like shaking hands at the end. They're all like, whatever.
They're all pissed off.
I'll just be like, look, man, I already told you. Like, we were gonna win regardless. Like, there's no need to fight it. Just accept it.
Yeah.
But I do want to get back to that mentality wise before I go back to coaching and stuff. Mm-hmm. Just so I can like make sure like the kids I mentor or coach, like if they can chase that feeling I used to have. Well, I'm pretty sure. I want to make sure like all the people I mentor either go to college or into the correct path, even if they don't go into like the collegiate or professional route. I could be like, hey, look, man, I went through the military.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can still have a pretty badass life that way. Or, hey, you want to go to construction? Hey, I do that too.
Yeah.
Think ahead.
Is there like one thing you want them to do more than anything? Because just to speak on my own perspective, living the life I live now, it's like with the podcast, like I use that to parallel other things. I'm like, listen, like, you don't need to do a podcast unless that's what you want to do. What I want you to do is find your thing and just fucking go for it.
Oh, for
find
sure.
a thing that like you could do for free for 10 plus years, because that's the thing you're going to be so happy about doing. Because like that's my thought. So like for you, what is it you get fulfillment out of with helping those people?
What do I get for fulfillment? It's crazy.
Like, is it seeing them pursue something that makes them happy because you didn't necessarily get to do that because of the way you were grown?
Oh, for sure. It's like, even like, for instance, like when I had to stop, some of my teammates, they went to the collegiate route. And I was like, oh, okay. But then I kind of saw it. So, for instance, our coach didn't let us play high school. So there was 1 year in high school I didn't get to play. I think it was my sophomore year. So he made it seem like, oh, if you play high school, you're off the team. So for me, it's like, look, man, if I start coaching, I'll be like, look, you play high school, you guys have fun. Tell me when you guys are playing, I'll be there. So it's like that support factor. And then it's like, but when we get back to practice, balls to the walls, you guys are going to be fucking training. Because I want you guys to be better. And then I started saying, like, how Plant City Lancers.
That was the name of your soccer team for people that don't know. I know, but I guess I should probably say that.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah. So Plant City Lancers, that youth sports in the Plant City area for kids that want to play soccer, it's all voluntary. So most of the parents, they're all volunteering to coach and stuff like that. But when you look at, like, bigger clubs like Tampa Bay United, who has, like, the funding and the sponsors to do whatever. They have a great woman or great girls program, and I think boys program too, because they have the money to like make an academy. So does Clearwater Chargers. They have their own academy there too, or IMG, like you name it. So it all comes down to funding. And when you go to Plant City Lancers, it's like
very little funding.
It's like because they have a mission to where it's like anybody can play competitive for like $575 or $95 a year or something like that. And like what's included is like your registration fees, I think 1 or 2 tournaments a year and like 12 games and stuff. And that's just like the bare minimum. But then the amount of games I was playing like in my team, it was like nonstop. It was like I remember there was one time I played like 4 games every weekend for like, this is like 90-minute games.
Jesus.
And I think there was one point that we played like 6. Bro, when I'm talking about like body cramps and calf cramps.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Oh, you felt that. And it wasn't like, oh, like you can hydrate all you want. I didn't know much about hydrating. So pickle juice is like...
There was no science when we were in high school.
There was
no athletic science. That shit came out after we graduated high school.
Like, so you mean I can't drink chocolate milk after a soccer game?
Game 6, I had tacos last game.
And it's like knowing the information and like experiences I know now, it's like it'll benefit a lot of kids that grew up the same way I did. So it's like, oh, you want to go play for the Nationals? Or you want to go try out for the Team USA and stuff? Let's go to ODP. They're like, what is it? Olympic Development Program, which is something I did. So you have your competitive, like you have your rec league, you have your competitive league, and then you have ODP. Now ODP is selecting the best players in the region. So I got selected there. Then it's like, oh,
I'm not surprised.
We're going to select the best teams or select the best players in all these regions to make a state team, the Florida State team, which I was also a part of.
Not surprised.
It's like, oh, we're going to select the best players from the 12 states in the Southeastern team.
Which I also was a part of.
No, I wasn't a part of that one. But I was there like to play because there was a lot of good players there too. But if I were to start off my brother Pancho, because I started at the age of 10. I didn't start playing like with a ball at my feet like most Mexicans and stuff like that. No, it was more of like my mom and dad were like, you got to play a sport. You go do something. And I was like, oh, I remember playing for Lancers. I think I played like rec. I played for like 2 years in rec. And then my mom was like, oh, you got tryouts. I'm like, to what? they're like, a team called Lancers or something. And I was like, okay. And I remember being told later on that I was only selected on the team because I was taller than most of the other kids. I fucking sucked, bro. Like, I didn't know how to kick a ball for shit. I didn't know how to pass. I didn't have the confidence to play. There were, like, my first year playing in competitive, I had, like, hardly any playing time. I was complete garbage, bro. Like, my mom told me, too, like, sometimes, like, are you sure you want to play this? And I'll be like, I don't know. I'm just kind of here, man. And
could I play baseball?
I wish I should have. So then, I think the next year it was more of like, oh, if I don't know how to kick a ball or anything, I was always the fastest runner in like Cork Elementary and stuff. So I was like, I can at least be fast, so I can just run. So I would just practice running. So that's kind of what, like, it's crazy now that I think about that. Like, now in life, I'm like, when I'm doing my runs and stuff, I'm like, man, I used to be the fastest kid in 3rd grade. Or I used to be the fastest kid in 4th grade or in 5th grade. And then, you know, you're playing soccer, and then now you're all grown up and you're not really playing soccer as much. And it's like, well, what do you want to do? It's like, I just want to be fast. So
Speed.
Speed. So you just want to go on runs and stuff. And it's like, how fast can you be? I'm like, I don't know. I want to be really fast. So then it's like, man, if I were to ever start coaching, like, I'm going to make sure all my kids can run like a 40-yard dash, like super fucking fast.
Get them to do sprints. You were the one who told me if you really want to increase your run speeds, just do sprints.
Yeah, it's fucking amazing. Now I'm starting to do more sprints. So on like my runs where it's like it's super long and stuff, there's one point where I'll just sprint an entire straightaway until I just can't anymore.
Yeah.
And then there's techniques with it. So at first you're just sprinting all out, right? And then the next is like, all right, I'm going to sprint next time, but I'm going to have my knees a little bit higher just so I can get more leverage or more distance. And then it's like, you got to control your breathing. Now, when you do that for so long, it's like, all right, once you hit deadlifts the next day, it's like, because you're strengthening your core with sprinting, you can lift a little bit heavier, or your strength doesn't like go down in weight. So I feel like I'm neutral. So sprinting is going to go a long way. So I
need to get back into doing sprinting. My sprinting is doing jiu-jitsu against dudes who are way better than me now, and I just am trying to not die.
I just feel bad for the next team I coach, because
you're gonna go. You got a lot of pent-up aggression that you're gonna take out on them.
What are we doing, coach? Sprinting. And then like the last,
sir, we have to kick a ball.
Like,
you gotta run first.
We're like 30 minutes of kicking the ball around won't hurt. What are we doing for an hour and a half? Sprinting.
Fuck, dude.
I mean,
I could see you being a really good coach, though.
Oh, for sure. I think about it, too. It's like, imagine showing up to the games and you hear, like, low, righty, leo, just, like, Marie Court cadence around the field and stuff. It's like an early morning game, and I just start playing colors and stuff, like the trumpets and stuff. The other team's like, yo, what the fuck?
Your whole team's like, does like a fucking routine before the game.
It's like, 1, 2, 3, my car. I'm like, damn right. Sir, this is Lancers. No, it's not. Training like, young Marines.
These are 8-year-olds, sir. What the fuck are we doing right now?
Training monsters over here. And this is
Stay hard. These motherfuckers carry the boats, dog.
Oh, yeah. And I think about it too. Like, there's going to be one training I do where it's going to be like, all right, this is the task. Like, I'm going to tell them what to do. Like, this is the task you're going to do. And whoever does it gets a prize. They're like, oh, okay. And you guys have an hour to do it. So these kids are going to be doing these obstacles and stuff, all these trainings and stuff. I'll be watching, right?
Don't kill nobody.
I'm not going to kill them. And I'm going to tell them this. If you guys got to take a water break, y'all take a water break. But you guys got to complete this. And the one person who just doesn't quit and like completes it or gets close to completing it you're the captain of the team. People are gonna be like, he ain't even the best player. He doesn't have to be the best player.
He has the most heart.
He has the most heart. And that's what it comes down to. So I remember a lot of people choose the best players in soccer or they choose the captain of the team because they're the best player. Now, when you think about that in life, heck, even when you're a businessman, you don't have to be the best person. You have to surround yourself with better people than you. There are people in my class that are a lot smarter than me. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of people that are like, smarter. There are a lot of people stronger. You name it. Now, the only reason why I'm where I'm at now is because I surround myself with people that are better than me, and I communicate that better. So if this person can communicate with like, look, man, I get you're fast and you can beat this player. I'm going to send you the ball. Just make sure you're there and you do your job and stuff like that. So it doesn't always have to be like the best player being the captain and stuff. It has to be the person with like the most heart.
The most effort.
Yeah.
Have you, do you know who Andrew Huberman is? Mm-mm. So Andrew Huberman is a big podcaster, and he's a neuroscientist from Stanford University. And one of the things I listened to him about on one of his podcasts was he was talking about how there was a study done between two groups of kids. The first group of kids, it was like some kind of competitive endeavor. I don't remember exactly what it was, but one group was like these kids, after they did this testing of some type, they told these kids, oh my gosh, you're so smart, you're so intelligent, you're so great. And then this other group of kids, they said, you tried so hard, you did such a good job of putting in a lot of effort. And like they basically, one group said you're naturally this way, and the other group, they said, we're proud of how much effort you put in. And then they retested the whole groups. The kids who were just told they were great tried not as hard, so they didn't do as well.
Oh,
and the second group of kids who were rewarded verbally on their efforts did even better, because they realized that more effort equals better results.
Oh, for sure.
So like I think it's the same way in life. Is it's not necessarily about the person who's the most gifted. Like notoriously, like Kobe O'Bryant was like, did I say that right? Am I just drunk? Kobe Bryant. I said O'Bryant. Kobe Bryant.
Are you trying
Kobe
to say
Bryant,
Kobe O'Neal?
Like he was notorious for outworking everybody.
Oh, for sure.
Like he would say he was probably not the most talented individual, but there was nobody outworking him. Same thing with Michael Jordan. Like it was just, these people were constantly working. It wasn't about how talented they were, how much natural gift they had. They had that too, don't get me wrong. But nobody could parallel the amount of effort that they put in. Or it was just, they were way beyond the other people and how much effort they put in. And so I feel like that's a huge thing too. Like to piggyback off what you're saying, is like, it's not about the kid who's the best player at the beginning. It's the person who is willing to put in the most effort. Because then it's easy to take somebody who is willing to put in a lot of effort and you go, okay, here's the areas where you're wasting the effort on, and let's redirect that same effort into another channel, so that way we're making the best use of all the effort you're putting in. Because there's such a thing as you're just working too hard, you're not working smart. But if you can take the people who are already working hard and be like, here's how you work smart, that is much easier than taking somebody who just is natural and trying to make them work harder. It's much easier to take somebody who's already working hard and teaching them how to do it better. You get what I'm saying?
For sure. And it's like, going back to like the coaching and thing, I would always see that, like, oh, like, why is this girl the best team, or why is this girl the captain, or why is this guy the captain? They're the best player. I'm like, okay. But then you have a player that's like, when the team is down, right, the best player is just like mad at everybody, like, oh, like, get the ball and stuff. And then you have one player on the team like, all right, come on,
who
man.
rallies the troops.
Yeah, like, let's get it together, about this and that. And I'm like, man, like, I need to create more of those players. And like, I used to coach, but like, I have like some girls that went to the collegiate route that I used to coach, and I'm like, man, like, I'm glad that I was a part of their early stages in coaching, that they've developed that part. Now, I'm not sure about the other coaches like that they met after, but I do know, like, if I were to, since I experienced that, I know if I go back to coaching, I can probably like get it better to where it's like, look, man, like maybe I'm not saying go harsh on the best player or the guy that's the most talented and stuff. I'm like, look, man, I used to be in your shoes too. Like I used to be great, but here I am coaching your bratty ass and shit.
Yeah.
But then it's like the hard work thing, because again, I started playing when I was 10. Now you can say it was hard work and you can say it was talent. I just thought faster than most people. So it's like, oh, this, I can see like somebody's going to pass me the ball. I'm going to just start running now. The player here is just kind of like on his heels. I'm like, oh, he isn't going to get past me. So it was just smarter. That was it. But it was crazy because, man, I sucked at age 10, bro. I was garbage. And then, like, the year after, I think the team gave me, like, MVP, like, most improved player and shit like that. And that felt really good for me. I was like, damn, like, all I did was just outrun everybody.
You just out-efforted everybody.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And that took a while, too, because I knew all they would do is just get their running, like, at practice and stuff. But my mom didn't like the fact that I sucked at the age of 10. So she would, like, purposely drop me off at the park and just tell me to run. And it wasn't, like, all the time. It was probably, like, 1 or 2 times a week. I had practice, like, 3 times a week. So she would purposely drop me off at the park and just say, run around the complex.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that on the previous podcast.
So
yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. Just run alone. I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing. So I'd run around the complex and then just come back and, all right, we're about to train. But then it wasn't just that, too. Now, I didn't think about the whole roofing thing. So when I'd go roofing over the summer, and my mom would pick me up at 4 just to drive home, change, and then go straight to soccer practice, I didn't think about that. I already put my body in, like, physical, like, I'm not saying physical pain, but I already, like, did my workout.
You were empty. You were on, like, 20% battery.
Yeah, I was like, I already emptied myself, but then here I am playing again. And then, you know, you're doing that for a whole summer, and then it's like, oh, school time. Finally get a break, right?
Yeah, school is a break for you. Yeah, 100%.
And then it's like, oh, you got soccer practice.
I'm in the AC, motherfuckers.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you got soccer practice today. And you go to practice, and I'm like, man, I feel like I'm faster than all you guys right now.
Yeah, because you're used to training on 20% battery, and now you're on fucking 95% battery. You're like, fuck you guys, dude. I'm turbocharged now.
And that's me, like, now. So, like, let's say, for instance, on my Sunday leagues, it's a Sunday league, so they play, like, at 5 or 7 p.m., which is later on in the day. And let's say I worked on Saturday, got home late or whatever. I eat, like, whatever. And then I get to sleep in. I'm like, oh, finally. Sleeping in is like waking up at 6 a.m., 7 a.m., right? Yeah. But I still get to sleep in. And I'm like, man, I feel great.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I don't got to go roofing. Yeah, I guess I'll go work out. But then I go work out, and then I just go right back to sleep right after. And it's like, oh, I got a soccer game now.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I'm like, man, you guys are all slow.
You have so much more energy.
Oh, man.
Bro, I'm gonna convince you to go try jiu-jitsu with me. It's gonna be 100% a thing.
Oh, I'll do it.
I know you will. It's just a matter of timing. Like you said, you're like the only day I have available right now is Wednesdays.
The goal is to get that roofing license. I know if I get that, I already have all the books. I just have to take the test. And the way they do the test is you can bring all the books with you to take the test. You just have to tab it and everything. This goes for any contractor course as well. And I just got to take the test. Once I take that test, all I really got to worry about is school. That's basically it. So like all the roofing stuff, I'm going to have my own team already with like my brother. Not so much about my parents. I'll be like, look, man, I spent my entire life with this shit. Me and my brother handling the money, you know, like that's just how it is. And it's not like we're going to have it all, because you have to give money for yourself, your brother, and money for the own business itself. So it's like, you know, money's there if you need it. But for the most part, don't go recklessly spend it. And then, yeah, all I'm gonna have to worry about is school. So if I can just find a way to be like, oh, I'm going to school from 9 to 1 a.m. or 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., that's one window. But if not, 6:30 to 10:30 p.m., it's perfectly fine with me.
Bro, I'm gonna get you there. I know you'd love it. That's the problem. It's an addiction. I'm like, hey man, I do heroin. You want to try it too? It feels like that, but it's good stuff. I'm gonna off the podcast. I'm gonna tell you some things that'll probably change that not even change your mind, but just more or less like sink that stake a little bit deeper. I bet you'll be there. But all right, bro. Yeah. We can't drink any more tequila because I'm trying to not get more fucked up. One thing I do like about tequila is it burns through your system really quick.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, so like I'm sure I'm gonna stand up and waddle out of here. Everybody drink responsibly. Yeah. That's what the agua fresca is for. It's like Gatorade. It's like Mexican Gatorade.
Yeah, it is about right.
Bro, that shit hits different too. But dude, with the tequila, that shit was dangerous, right?
Oh yeah, it was. I didn't even taste tequila in that.
Bro, it's so good. That was probably one of the best tequila drinks. That is the closest thing I've had to the drink that you make, the cucumber lime drink that you make. That shit was fucking delicious. But shout out Taco Madre. Delicious. Birria. They got birria fries, birria ramen. They got birria tortas. Yeah, I know. That's right. I said that. I enunciated.
Yeah, but close this out.
But Juan, thanks for coming and doing this.
No problem, brother.
I'm gonna see you in fucking 2 weeks, anyways. We got a fucking book podcast to do.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be fun. I'm actually really excited that I was able to get you and Adrian to do that because I needed that extra push of like I have friends that are relying on me reading this book to talk about it. You know what I mean?
That's a big thing.
Because I really wanted to read, but it was like if I was doing it by myself, I could go a week without reading and be fine. But now it's like I've got to fucking do it.
Yeah, you got to hold yourself accountable, man. Or you got to have people that can keep yourself accountable too. Yeah.
That's why I think the running thing would be huge for you and I, because it's like if I'm like, hey Juan, like I'm meeting you Saturday, and like don't fucking dodge me, dog. Like
I'll show up hungover. Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, exactly, bro. I really think we should do that. We should plan to do a half marathon, like before June of next year, before June of 2024. We should probably plan, even if it's just me and you going and running laps at a place. Like it doesn't have to be an actual race. And then plan a legit full marathon.
Oh, for sure, brother.
I'm down. Fuck these knees, bro. Anything else you want to add? Thank you for coming and tell your ayahuasca journey too, because I know that's a thing that some people would just like to keep secret too. So that was cool that you explained that. I'm excited for you to do it again, so I can like get you back on. And
hell yeah, man! I love this podcast, man. I could be myself.
100%, man. That's the point. Is everyone lives their adult lives differently. That was kind of the whole point. Is like when I started the podcast, it was like, you know, like your parents have these expectations of you in life, and you're like, oh, I should not leave this job because my dad says I make good money doing this, and it's a good company, and blah 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 blah. I don't know. It's just there's so many things, bro.
Oh,
and
for sure.
This is my my outlet, one of my multiple outlets, but this is it's my thing. So
for sure,
appreciate you coming on and doing this one.
Yep, no problem, man.
And we'll talk some off there, and I'll convince you of some things. So.
All right, bro.
Peace out, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Peace out.
Check out Fadeaway Barbershop. It's where Juan and I get our haircuts.
Yep.
And Taco Madre, shout out for the best agua fresca to mix with this tequila. So, all right, bye everyone. See you guys. This episode of Somehow We're Adults is over, but if you'd like to support the podcast, you can subscribe to one of the levels of the Patreon, where we will release bonus episodes that can't be found anywhere else. Any of the money that we get from the Patreon would be used to upgrade old equipment, as well as get new gear so that we can make the best podcast for you to tune into. You can also follow the podcast Instagram at Somehow We're Adults, where I share clips and content about the podcast, and the link in the bio will take you to any of the Somehow We're Adults pages. I encourage you to check out another one of the episodes if this is your first time listening, and if you're a repeat listener, thank you for your support. I love making the podcast, and I hope you tune in for future episodes of Somehow We're Adults.